If I woke up tomorrow looking like this, and I needed to drop 30 pounds fast, trying to get back to this, I wouldn't just wing it. I'd be quite strategic about getting there, and this is where most people get it wrong. And if you're watching this, maybe you've struggled to lose the unwanted pounds. You've slashed calories too low, trying out random diets, training 7 days a week, cardio every day, pushing Monday to Friday, and then falling off every weekend with no actual plan or no strategy. From my years in the industry, this is where I see most people get stuck. So on today's video, I'm going to run through how you can break that cycle and outline key strategies to help you torch body fat so that the work that you're putting in finally pays off. One thing that I see as a testament to our client results is sweating the small stuff. And I don't want to overwhelm you either. Simplicity will win. But the most important thing you can do is looking down the line at the dream outcome for you, reverse engineering from that position so you can figure out what you need to do weekly and what you need to do daily to keep results coming through. When you get a plan of attack that works and you follow that relentlessly, results just happen. So enough chit chat. If I had 30 pounds to lose and I needed gone fast, I'm going to run through 5 key strategies for you to use so you can make it happen. Numero uno, we need to get an understanding of how your body actually burns fat. So have a look up here for a second. This is what you call TDEE, which stands for total daily energy expenditure. And this represents the amount of calories your body burns on a day-by-day basis. The key word here being calories, which I'm sure you've heard of. Your BMR, which is at the bottom of the graph, represents the amount of calories your body burns from simply existing. It's what we like to call our coma calories. If I got knocked out cold right now, touch wood I don't, this would represent the amount of calories I burn from just lying in bed, which will be very individual dependent on your muscle mass, your metabolic function, your genetics. There's a lot of factors that play into this. But you can see this is the most amount of calories you burn per day. The principle here is our body is constantly using calories. It's constantly burning energy. But that's the one that we've got the least control over. Your second one from the bottom is your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And that's a lot of big words. Simply put, it's the calories you expend, the calories you burn from your daily movement. Me waving my hands right now, this accounts for my NEAT. And it's the second biggest one of the calories you expend per day. So as you can imagine, if we can leverage this, we're going to be able to burn more calories. Simple things like parking your car further away from work, walking up the escalator, taking the stairs where we can. It's those 1% that play off in the longer term. And this is why you hear that steps are so important online, as this one is very much scalable and it can help tie in massively with fat loss. Third from the bottom is your TEF, better known as the thermic effect of food, which is one I wish I knew about in my earlier days of training. Your body will burn a hell of a lot of calories from just digesting your food into calories. Bit of a head melter that. And this is one we can actually increase, which I'll get into now in a bit. Final one up top is your EAT. And no, that has nothing to do with eating. This is what you call your exercise activity thermogenesis, or better known as the calories we expend from our training. And I know you might be thinking, that looks small up there. And this is what I always harp on about online. Food and lifestyle management will be 90-95% of fat loss results. You can train all you want, but if you're not putting in the work on them, you can see how small of an effect your training is going to have on your results. Now, of course, this is something that we can leverage and look to increase, but I hope you have a better understanding now of the biggest mechanisms for burning energy, and it ain't training. So taking into account all the calories you're burning now per day, if you were to match that and eat the exact same amount of calories, you'd maintain your body weight. And if you were to intake more calories than this, which if you're watching this video, you most likely have, this is where the unwanted body fat has come from. As the body fat you want to lose right now is simply just stored calories. Which leads us on to the big one now. If you were to eat under the amount of calories that your body expends per day and intake less energy than what it actually needs to maintain, your body will need to get energy from somewhere. Well, it's going to use its own body fat stores. And this is what we like to call creating a calorie deficit, which I'm sure you've heard of by now. And it is the only way to lose the unwanted pounds. It's the law of thermodynamics. So let's use an example right now so I can help you set your calorie targets up. So I want you to take your body weight in kilo. If you usually weigh in pounds, let's convert that over. And I want you to take that number and multiply it by 25. This is going to help give you a calorie target, most likely in a deep deficit for results. So for example, if I was 80 kilo times 25, the calorie target for me to hit would be 2,000 calories. So now that we've established what calories to intake to create that calorie deficit, let's get a bit further into the food end of things. Calories are made up of 3 macronutrients: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. There's going to be 2 main numbers I want you to focus on: your calories and your protein. For our protein, let's multiply our body weight in kilo to help get our protein target. If you normally weigh in pounds, pounds, go at 1 gram per pound of body weight. This is going to be your daily protein target. I can guarantee this is going to get you a lot of results. It'll help with your muscle adaptation repair from training, but there's 2 other ones that protein is a cheat code for. Maintaining a high protein diet helps massively with satiety, keeping you full for longer and making it easier to adhere to your calories. The third reason links back into the TEF that we mentioned earlier. When you increase your protein, your body will burn more calories at rest, as protein requires a lot of energy for your body to digest. So you can literally increase your calorie deficit by having more food. It's a cheat code, don't miss on it. Your carbs and fats want to make up the remainder of your calories. I'd recommend setting in a rule of 40 grams of fats per day minimum to help with hormone function and inflammatory reduction. And I can promise you don't need to cut carbs if you're on top of your calories. It's energy in, energy out at the end of the day. So now that we've established our targets, I want you to execute this relentlessly day after day. When you adhere to your calorie deficit, your body will utilize its own body fat stores as fuel. And once you're on top of this consistently, you will see your results over time. But be patient and believe the things you do each day will compound. And just a reminder, whenever you get the work done and you get to where you want to be, you can always return to maintenance. You don't need to live your whole life in a deficit. Get in, get the work done, get the fuck out. So we've established your targets and how fat loss works. Let's move on to number 2. You're going to need a weekly system for results. Now for me, in my own opinion, what I do myself and what I do with my clients, it's the lifestyle that truly counts. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach, which I swear I see a lot of people fall off. Cutting out a lot of their favorite foods, cutting out their weekends. At the end of the day, you will need to change a lot of your habits, especially when it comes to outings and occasions. But it's not complete elimination, more so reduction and management. I've got 3 things that are going to be a game changer for you to be able to sustain your calorie deficit. The first one being the 90-10 rule. You may have heard about the 80-20 before. I like to crank things up a notch. Once 90% of your calories on a day-by-day basis from the targets that we established in the last one come from the whole foods, your fruit, your veg, all of the high quality foods and sources, we can have 5 or 10% of your calories every day coming from the stuff that we just love and enjoy. And this is where we create the lifestyle. Rather than having that all or nothing approach, you can get to where you want to be with a lot of your favorite foods being kept in. Your second one's going to be weekend management. For me, I love a drink and I love some off-plan food, but management and control over decisions are key. Weekends will either make or break a transformation, as Friday, Saturday and Sunday are 42% of your week. And this is one thing we work through with a lot of our clients, giving them tools and strategies to be able to go through weekends with no cost of results. If you ever have busier weekends, the first thing I want you to look toward is calorie banking. Saving maybe 100 to 200 calories each day that you can add on to your calorie target on Saturday or Sunday if you're trying to manage some sort of event, or if you're just looking to have a meal out with your friends or family. But the most important thing when it comes to calorie banking, try and make good decisions. As if you do go out and send it on the weekend on calorie intake and you go outside of the budget you've just created, then technically you've undone a lot of work from the week. These things do happen, of course. Just make sure you get back on plan the following day. The third part of the system, which is a non-negotiable to review your progress week by week, will be taking your body weight every single day. First thing in the morning, before you've had any food or water, after you go to the toilet, to get your most accurate reading. Because then if you've got 7 full days of weigh-ins, you can take a weekly average. Adding those 7 weigh-ins together, divided by 7. Where were you then on average across the week? That's going to be much more accurate to review your body weight, as opposed to relying on one weigh-in a week, because there is a lot that can impact the scale in terms of fluctuations. So whenever you have your first weekly average weight and then you have your following week's weekly average weight, you can compare the difference and see if you're in line with your target or not. And the target that I'm talking about, what you want to aim for is 1% of your body weight per week. Anywhere from 0.5% to 1% is perfect. Sometimes 1.5% of your body weight, but if you're able to meet minimum 1% at the beginning of your journey, you will win. So for example, in handiness sake, if you weighed in at 100 kilo, 1% of your body weight would be 1 kilo. Or if it was 220 pound, then you'd be looking at 2.2 pound. And that's what you want to see is the difference between one weekly average and another. So as your weekly averages compound over time, you can review, are you in line with your rate of loss target or are you not? If you are, happy days. If you're not, you can look toward a change. But I'd always look back and be like, okay, how has adherence been? Have I been doing everything that I'm meant to be doing? Don't just look toward dropping calories straight off the bat. And staying in and around that 1% bracket will ensure that you can build muscle on the way down, which will come at no cost to your physique. So we've now covered calories, establishing targets, we've ran over the weekly system for results. Moving on to number 3, your activity, which will account for the NEAT that I mentioned. And the key word here, steps. Steps are a cheat code for expending energy and helping you deepen the calorie deficit that you're currently in. With the cost of no fatigue, keeping your recovery in a good place, and it makes it much easier to get these in. Rather than adding a load of cardio, look toward your steps. The golden rule of thumb that I get everyone to aim for is anywhere between 8 to 12k per day. You'll be off to a flyer of a start, but this is where you want to overload over time, as steps will use fat as fuel. Does that mean they'll burn more fat? Not at all, because it's calories in, calories out, which rule that. But steps will use the energy source that we want to use. In comparison to cardio, it's going to use carbohydrates and your stored glycogen, which is the energy that we store in our muscles from digesting those carbs. We want to keep them for our weight training, so we can build as much as we can the way down. So look toward your day and try and front load as many steps as early in the day as possible. Get up 20 minutes, half an hour earlier, have a morning walk as a non-negotiable. It can help you get ahead of the target for the day itself, plus set you up for a phenomenal day mindset wise. And I'd try and knock off a few walks throughout the day, finishing your target off in the evening. But I can promise you, if you prioritize your steps, you will see vast amount of progress. And I suppose it's not really neat if you're intentionally upping your steps, but we'll probably leave it in that section anyway. Moving on to number 4, we're going to talk through training, and we don't really need to spend much time here either. A common belief is that training has such an impact on fat loss, whereas, as mentioned earlier, it's only a marginal percentage of fat loss results. Steps 1, steps 2, steps 3 can transform your life. Step number 4 is going to build you the physique as you pull the body fat off. Sweet spot for weight training for me is anywhere from 3 to 4 days a week. And check out the last video on my channel. It runs through what days you should do, how to actually approach a training split. Plus as well, I threw in some free programs in the pinned comment at the top. Go grab yourself a program. It's on the house. Then we have to talk about cardio. From my side, what I'd recommend, anywhere from 1 to 2 sessions per week to kick things off. 20 to 30 minutes each session. This will help tie into a bit more calorie output across the week, yes, but it's more so for your health. One thing as well, when you're cardiovascularly fit, you will feel fucking phenomenal. That's why I love it. And when progress stalls, I'd first off look toward increasing your steps, and then, and only then, if you've maxed out in your steps, increase your cardio. It should be the last thing you look toward. And as mentioned, nutrition will be 90 to 95% results. And the reason for that is, say you went out to do an hour of cardio, you may burn 5, 6, 700 calories with an hour of hard work, and that took you an hour. How fast can you consume 700 calories? Well, we can do it in less than a minute if we'd like. So the management of the energy coming into the body will always be more important than the management of the energy going out. Both can work in harmony together to help get you to where you want to be. But managing the intake should always take priority, especially when you're looking to sustain calorie deficits. So we've covered almost everything. How fat loss works, calorie targets, weekly system for results, what we use with our clients time and time again that pays off, our activity, our training. Number 5, be consistent. Don't aim for perfection. Maybe you've been on a fat loss journey before and you've tried to be perfect, and then one small wobble and that sets you off for the following few weeks because you feel like you've failed, that you've let yourself down. That internal dialogue will get you nowhere. Even for me, I've been a coach for years. I've done bodybuilding, I've done photo shoots, I've done many diets, and I'm not even perfect, but what I am is consistent. I will execute relentlessly day after day, and it's what I ask of my team. But if I ever have a slip up or I make a mistake, I strike a yellow line and I just get straight back to it. As these things happen, we're all human, and it's all about being consistent longer term, having the majority of the year on plan as opposed to the minority. As if you have 90-95% of your weeks on plan across the year, that's going to be more than enough to tie in and lead to your result. This is all you need to guarantee success in your own journey. And following on from that, if you are somebody who continually hits the reset every Monday, struggling to get to where you want to be because you're unsure of what to do, you're not alone. I've been in that position, and I've helped hundreds of people through the exact same. The link to book in a one-to-one consult call with me personally is in the description below. If you'd like me to take a detailed look into everything that you're currently doing right now, I can give you some suggestions on the specific strategies my clients use to guarantee results. Book in if you'd like to chat. It's completely free of charge, and I'm unsure if I can help you, but we can figure that out. Other than that, if you can like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It'll help me reach more people out there to impact their results. And drop your thoughts into the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one.